Yeah, right.
Sitting here.
And they wonder why we get sick.
Exactly.
Yep. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Mic check. That's me. I never thought about doing that because I know if you need to.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, y'all doing all right this morning? How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Okay. Anybody else need to click them?
Mine's just laying up there, it'll be fine. That way he doesn't have to wear a whole lot.
Good morning. I'm going to just start by giving y'all what we've already got, and then I'm going to open up for any questions. I'll answer any questions I can. Obviously, there's some that I might not be able to answer, but I'll be glad to take on any questions that you have after I get through with this. Okay, on Saturday, January 28th, at approximately 7:05 p.m., the Smith County Sheriff's Office dispatch received a call, a 911 call. I'm sorry, it wasn't a 911 call. It was a regular call to the straight into dispatch of a family disturbance up in the up in northwestern Smith County, in a very remote part of the county. It's so remote. It's got a Mineola address, so it's up close to Highway 80 in the northwestern part of the county. The caller identified herself as the victim of an assault by her boyfriend at their residence. Several Smith County Patrol deputies responded. As they got to the location, were able to determine that the person had left the residence at that time at a high rate of speed. They have a long driveway, and when the driveway intersects with 459, County Road 459, he ran into a telephone pole and knocked it down. The vehicle was left there. He was on foot. They took the report. They also utilized one of our drones to try to locate the person during that first call. They were unable to locate him. They were very busy that night. They received another call close in the proximity to there of another family disturbance, which is why they were fairly close still when this second call came in. Let's see, the victim changed. The victim was asked by our patrol deputies if she would like to leave for the night, to go to a safe place. They arranged for her to get a hotel room at no charge to her, no cost to her. She acted as if though she were going to do it, and then changed her mind. So she stayed there at the residence. And obviously we know now that what had happened is Mr. Duvall returned to the residence, and I believe at that time is when his mother called 911 and said that he was back at the residence and he was beating on his girlfriend and threatening his dad, which was her husband. Officers arrived at the scene at 9:22. I'm sorry, at 9:22 is when he got the call. And a short time later, they arrived, and within 1 minute of entering the residence is when the shooting occurred. The residence is a frame residence. Again, it's at the end of a long driveway. As you enter the residence, you enter into the living room area, and immediately to the right, just right inside the door, immediately to the right, it's a bedroom. And that's where Mr. Duvall was when the deputies got there. There was a rifle with a scope on it that was leaned up against the bed about midways down the bed. And he was standing there with a pistol, obviously in his hand. He pointed at the deputies, and both deputies fired at the suspect, and he fell to the floor. They immediately began CPR and called the ambulance. After the ambulance attendants worked on him for a while, they had determined that he was deceased. And at that point, dispatch notified all the normal people that we notify in a situation like this, including the Ranger Lieutenant Nick Castle and Chris Baggett. Ranger Baggett went to the scene and conducted a disinterested third-party investigation, which is our protocol here at the Smith County Sheriff's Office. If we have an officer-involved shooting, we don't investigate our own. We get a disinterested third party to keep everything above board, and it's just what needs to be done. And Ranger Baggett is obviously still has some things to do as far as finishing his reports and things of that nature. Judge John Johnson, Precinct 5 Justice of Peace, went to the scene and ordered an inquest, or held an inquest and ordered an autopsy. And the body has been taken for autopsy, and we'll know more about that as it comes in. The toxicology usually on an autopsy, which would show any drug-related, any drug use or alcohol-related stuff will be later. It doesn't come in as quickly as the other parts of the autopsy do. So we'll be waiting on that. And from everything I saw at the scene out there that night and into the morning, and as I was on my way out there, I'd asked for dispatch to forward me all call notes, all radio traffic, and all telephone conversation between dispatch and the callers. And upon me looking at that myself, I can say nothing short of I'm very proud of the job that everyone from the dispatch, the call takers did in talking to the complainants and advising them what to do. all the way up and including the responding deputies, and especially the 2 deputies that were involved in the shooting. And I'll leave it at that and open up for any questions.
Any history with this suspect?
We had answered calls out there before Blake, nothing severe, nothing ending in an arrest. Very little, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. He was not a habitual person that we dealt with on a monthly or whatever basis. We had answered calls out there, but it didn't end up in an arrest or anything. I believe he had been arrested once by one of the deputy constables in Precinct 5 some time ago. Nothing violent.
Are there any updates on the girlfriend and her mother and father?
Oh, it was his mother and father. Updates as far as the.
You know, she was obviously beaten. Is she okay? Is she in the hospital still?
I don't believe she was admitted. She was, the first time the deputies went out there, she had a small scrape or cut. But the second time she had been, obviously she had been beaten in the face and head, and severe enough to need to go to the hospital by ambulance. But I'm not sure whether she was admitted or not. I don't think she was, but I'll find out that for you.
Was she nearby when Duvall pointed the pistol at deputies?
She was in the living room, I believe. Yes.
So not in the same room, or?
She would have been in the same rooms the deputies were in, I believe. But again, it enters into a large living room, and then the bedrooms to the right and the kitchen and everything would be straight ahead. It's a fairly small wood frame structure. And Mr. Duvall's 6-year-old daughter was at the scene when this happened, though.
Was he in the bedroom by himself?
Yes, I believe so.
Do we know how many shots deputies fired at him?
Several. I believe he was struck several times. From the shell casings I saw there were several shots, which when you have 2 deputies shooting, they see the same thing and react. You're going to have 2 or 3 shots. That's if you're going to go to the point where you have to use your firearm in defense of yourself or someone else. We teach in training, hardly ever will there be just 1 shot. You're not shooting to, obviously you're not shooting to kill, you're not shooting to do anything but stop the threat. And stopping the threat, you're going to be shooting more than once. It's not like, I'll put it this way, Blake, it's not like you see on TV when you shoot somebody, they fall down and die. I've been around shootings like this and everything, and it's depending on where the shots hit. But again, what their job is to do is to protect themselves and any third parties and stop the threat, and that's what they did.
This may be a question following the Rangers investigation, but do we know where Duvall was hit by those gunshots? That's probably a question for Ranger Baggett, but it was in the torso area.
How are the deputies doing?
They were doing good when I talked to them that night, as well as could be expected. Of course, that's usually what happens is immediately following something like that, they're fine, but they have time to sit back and think about it. And obviously, nobody wants to be put in a situation to take somebody's life, and nobody knows how they're going to react. I've been in law enforcement 46 years. I've had to pull my gun. I've started squeezing the trigger before to shoot and use it, but I fortunately never have had to shoot anyone. But I almost got shot several times as well. But you never know what's going to happen until something like that occurs. But both of them performed as I would expect for them to, and I'm very proud of that. That's why we train. You train like you're going to work, and if you don't, it very well could have been one of our deputies out there that shot instead of the actor.
And I know you mentioned yesterday that there really are multiple victims when something like this happens.
Absolutely. The victims I see and going out there, the 6-year-old daughter, obviously, our heart goes out for her. Her dad, you know, is the one who was killed. His mom and dad, who were not the cause by any way of any of this, but they were, dad was obviously out there trying to talk to the son. Mother was in another county, communicating with our dispatch on phone, and our heart goes out for him, and obviously the girlfriend, and also our 2 deputies that got put in the situation they were put in and had to act.
Sheriff, the lady was treated and released.
Okay. The victim was treated and released from the hospital that same night.
One question, the 6-year-old daughter, was she in the living room? Was she in another room when the shooting happened?
I'm not sure which room she was in. She was not in the bedroom. I'm pretty positive. She was away from the dad. And I know when I got there, and it could have been Blake, that's something I would have to ask to make positive. I hate giving an answer that I don't really know. But I know when I got there, she was in the truck with her granddad, the decedent's father.
Is she in custody with the parents at this point, her grandparents, or?
To my knowledge, she is still with the grandparents. Yes, she was not blood related to the girlfriend. The girlfriend was not the mother of the child, but the decedent was the father of the child.
I think that's it. Thank you,
All
Sheriff.
right, you're welcome.
Thank you.